I'd like to first start my speech with a massive thank you and congratulations to our gracious hosts and the brand new couple, to Joe and Jess, everyone. Give them a round of applause. And can I just say, doesn't Jess look absolutely spectacular today, everyone? Absolutely. Jess, you've got to be careful. Lighting up the room like this, you're going to put Joe out of a job. Approximately 9 years ago, these two individuals sat down for their first date. And what did they do on their first date? They watched a film. And what film was it that they watched on their first date? It was Hot Fuzz, the police action comedy film. Joe had absolutely no concept that he had sat down to watch a film about a police sergeant for a first date with the daughter of a police sergeant. Cut to 9 years later, and that very same police sergeant, Chris Thomas, would be slapping him in handcuffs and arresting him for crimes against his daughter. I would like to thank Chris for being such a good sport and agreeing to arrest Joe at the beginning of his stag weekend. It was absolutely brilliant, and Joe really did not see it coming. Honestly, it was fantastic. Don't get me wrong, the pepper spray and attack dogs were a bit much, Chris. But we did appreciate your attention to detail. That day, you really did become Joe's father-in-law and order. What a fantastic day it's been today, guys. It's been absolutely fantastic. I mean, it's a bit of a weird one today, really, if you think about it, because for Joe especially, it is a strange day. He's a man who has decided to spend most of his life in a dark room as hundreds of people look in the opposite direction, away from him. But typically, you know, he's somebody that doesn't really seek out the limelight. He's usually the one generating the limelight. But today, on your wedding day, Joseph, Aubrey, Peter Lott, for the first time in a very long time, the spotlight is finally on you.
Wow.
Right. Come. Please up together.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this wonderful venue, Tyn Dwr Hall, in the heart of the North Wales countryside. This, I've got to say, is a surreal moment as a dad. Standing up here with being privileged to say a few words to you all and talk about and showcase my wonderful daughter. As a dad, you try and do your best. You bring kids into the world. You try to guide them and steer them and drive them through life, give them experiences. And above all else, you just want them to be happy. And one look at Jess today, and I think you'd all agree that she looks happy. Jess, I've got to thank you. I've got to thank you for being the amazing daughter that you are. I've got to thank you for the richness that you bring and have brought to our lives. And Jess, I've got to thank you for just being you. Love you, kid.
It now gives me the greatest of pleasure to pronounce you husband and wife. Would you like to kiss your beautiful bride? Oh yes!
Jess, you were born on the 5th of March 1996. And then we fast forward a few years. Jess goes through school. And she gets to the point at which she's deciding on universities. And Jess is the first young person in our family to go to a university. And we're so proud of her. And she whittled these choices down to 2. Rose Bruford and Birmingham School of Acting. And she decided that Birmingham School of Acting was the place that she was going to go. And that she was going to live at home, study in Birmingham, and everything in the garden was going to be rosy. Until Rose Bruford called. 3 days before the due interview date, they phoned her. Jess, are you coming in to see us? We're really looking forward to seeing you. Oh yeah, okay, then yeah, I'll come. So off to London she went on her own. Jules and I couldn't go with her. So she went into London on the train, she crossed London on the underground, goes into Kent, gets to Rose Bruford, and hey presto, of course she passed the interview, of course she went to Rose Bruford, and of course the rest is history. University changed her life and our lives. And she met, during her studies, a young man. And she became involved in a relationship with a young man. And we found out about the relationship that she started with a young man. And how did we find out about the relationship, Jess? It was on Facebook. I'm in a relationship. Really? Like we didn't know. So, as a parent of a daughter, those of you who have daughters, you'll know this, that as you guide them through life, you want them to be independent. You want them to be strong. You want them to be safe. And then ultimately, you want them to meet somebody who looks after them, who cares for them, who loves them. Joe, you are the epitome of all those things. And I really mean that.
Put your hand together, whoop and cheer and welcome for the first time as husband and wife, Mr. and Mrs. Lott. I have known this man over here for about 23 years. Joe and I went to school together from the age of about 7 years old. Typically in all that time, he's gone from being a shy and awkward 7-year-old to being a shy and awkward 30-year-old. Typically, what brought us together to begin with was school productions. It was drama that brought us together. Him being in the lighting booth, lighting the performances. Me being the attention-seeking child on stage. And it was, of course, as well, the second best man, Goldman, who is on the spotlight today, that was a follow spot with him at school talent shows. So it is appropriate that Goldman is lighting him today. A round of applause for Goldman, everyone. He loves his computers, absolutely loves them, and always has, to the point at which, this is a completely true story, right? When he was 13, 14 years old, Joe was enlisted to help fix the computer of a high-profile elderly neighbour, to fix Sir Michael Caine's computer. Isn't that completely true? Fantastic. Isn't that cool? Typically, Joe was enlisted to try and remove the Microsoft software from Sir Michael's computer. You were only supposed to take the bloody Windows off. There we go. I almost cut the impression, but there we go. It's been an honour and a privilege to see the journey you've been on. Those obsessions you had when you were young, technology, gadgets, lighting. The journey you have been on has been absolutely incredible, and it's been such an honour and a privilege to witness it. Everyone in this room could not be more proud of you. From lighting puppet theatres in his living room, school talent shows, typically musicals, to lighting the Rugby World Cup, Beyoncé, Coldplay, Eurovision. It is so joyous to witness someone actually fulfilling their dreams in the short space of 10, 12 years from school. Guys, a round of applause for Joe. Lots.
There are so many things that I love about Jess. I love your obsession with reading, the ever-growing collection of books. Our living room is more like a library with a sofa. I love your kindness and how much you love your family. Whenever we leave Jess's parents, she'll always roll down the window to wave goodbye as we drive off. And in fact, there was one time when Jess got a bit too excited in waving goodbye. We made it about halfway down the road before Jess screamed to stop the car. She'd managed to send her engagement ring flying out the window of the moving car, somewhere into the darkness on the road. Of course, that's not the most stressed I've been about the engagement ring. That would be the proposal. For those that don't know, the story starts as it usually does, with me being away for work. I was going to be in Los Angeles over Christmas, so we decided Jess would fly out to join me once I'd finished work, and we'd take a holiday and spend some time exploring the West Coast. The perfect opportunity to ask the big question. Jess's parents drove her to Heathrow, and she was on her way. While Jess was in the air and out of reach, I took the opportunity to call Chris and Jules and told them that I was planning to ask Jess to marry me. And then there was silence on the other end of the phone. Fortunately for me, the silence was a good thing, and they were excited with the news. However, Chris and Jules had to keep the secret for a while yet, as I wasn't planning to propose for another 2 weeks. By this point, I had it all planned out. I'd chosen the time, picked the location, and the start of our trip was all planned around the moment I was going to propose. Everything was ready, except for the weather. Low cloud, wind, rain, and the nice sunset I had pictured was nowhere to be seen, and naturally the lighting had to be perfect. So just like Jess's engagement ring, the entire plan went out the window. A few days later, we woke up on New Year's Day in Monterey, and today was going to be the day. Mainly because I was too excited and couldn't wait any longer to ask the question, but also because one of our next stops on the trip was Las Vegas. And while I did think it would be very efficient, we could get engaged and then married in Vegas the same day, I'm not sure how that would have gone down at home with our parents. I found a stretch of roads to the west of the city called 17 Mile Drive. I found an empty beach, this time with clear blue skies, and I asked Jess to marry me. I can't wait to spend the rest of my life with you. Hopefully with a lot more days at home, I'll be able to go on many more amazing adventures with you. Jess, you are my greatest support, my best friend, and now also my wife.